on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now.
Hello and welcome to They Think It's All Over. With David and Jonathan this week is the glamorous queen of British swimming in the 80s, who sadly all too often lost out to hairy, burly opponents pumped full of drugs. And as she's on the opposite side to Rory, expect no change there. Sharron Davies. With Gary and Rory as one of the finest, Steve makes up the second most successful pair of sporting brothers in the world, after Venus and Serena Williams. It's Mark Waugh. It's our handbags round now, all about the feuds that break out between sports people, Gary, Rory and Mark. Your question concerns Mark's captain and wound partner, Steve Waugh. Here he is, scoring yet another 100.
He's taken it. He dived to make his 100.
And his row with ex-England coach David Lloyd, seen working on the England players' technique before a recent tour to Australia. So, what was the cause of the row between the Australian captain and David Gower's Sky colleague, Gary's team?
Can I just first, a big round of applause for Mark Waugh, one of the greatest cricketers of all time.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And a famous twin. There's three of you, aren't there? There's Steve Waugh.
Three twins?
Steve... No, triplet. Steve Waugh. Steve Waugh.
That's 4.
It's amazing calling all of the first three Steve Waugh.
Mark, and your sister Shane Waugh.
That's right.
Is it true what they say? Because I know that in the womb they say that twins develop this sort of telepathy with each other. Is that true?
Well, Stephen's run me out about 8 times when we went batting together, so I'm not sure what the telepathy
Actually,
is.
Gary
It hasn't worked, so...
Gary and I have worked out this sort of telepathy. We've been on this show so often together that we actually...
Finish each other's sentences.
That was that was really awful. The only way you could have made that worse, Gary, was to said, "Is it now? Do I say it now?"
Jonathan's mother thought she was having twins, but it turned out it just be the afterbirth.
If only they hadn't thrown the child away. Hey, by the way, hats off to David for coming out here... Well, not coming out. For appearing on the show in the full leather that he normally only reserves for those quiet weekends. And, you know, it took a lot of courage for him to come out because, as you probably know, he's terrified of leather, especially when it's wrapped around a cricket ball.
I keep looking at these two and wanting to do YMCA.
I look at the two of them and think, I want to put on the other porn channel.
Sharron, can I ask a question? Is it true that you have a pink elephant tattooed on your bottom?
Yes.
Well, just in case anyone doesn't believe her.
Steve Waugh, David Lloyd, falling out.
So, Mark, have you got any secret plans to beat England in the Ashes Test?
Plan on turning up, yeah.
Gary and I have done this show so often together, we can actually... It's something to do with the fact that Mark and Steve are over here for ludicrously short contracts in English county teams, and David Lloyd thought they were spying.
Yes, that's correct. For 3 points, I'll give you 3 points for that. To be fair, Lloyd has good reasons for thinking Steve Waugh was a spy after he walked into the Sky interview room to find the Australian stroking a white cat, although it turned out he just had David Gower's head in his lap. David, Jonathan and Sharron, your squabble concerns two of the world's most successful managers. Here's Alex Ferguson watching Arsenal's Sylvain Wiltord destroy United's title hopes last May. And here's Sven-Göran Eriksson watching Arsenal's David Seaman destroy England's World Cup hopes last June. But it's not Fergie's perennial battles with Sven himself we're worried about, but a dispute with Sven's mum, Ulla. What was it all about, David's team?
Before we start on the question here, can I just say how really lovely it is to have Sharron on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest swimmers this country's ever produced, one of the greatest swimmers in the world, in fact. When I say you look absolutely fantastic.
It's nice to be here, having been poorly last week.
Well, yeah.
I had a bit of a chest infection last week. As you can hear, the voice isn't quite back yet.
We're not
Man,
hearing
imagine
you.
getting a chest infection. So what was it? Were you encouraged? Did you go to a school that was especially good for swimmers?
I was at an all-boys boarding school from 15 through to 18.
Their admissions tutor wants shit.
Mate, it was a normal school when you went there, and when you left, it was a school for the blind. And it produced one of the greatest swimmers of countries, and no doubt many of the greatest pole vaulters, I should imagine.
Stop it!
I'd like to point out I do not objectify women in any way, nor am I sexist, because it's been proven that women are more intelligent than men, and we get paid more, so it sort of evens out. We're all happy, aren't we?
Question.
Huh?
Something to do with Sven's mum.
Yes.
Oh, Ula.
Ula Eriksson
Ula.
and Sir Alex Ferguson.
Ula.
Was Fergie insisting she have a hip operation when in fact she's perfectly fit?
It's amazing how hip operation's the first thing he thinks.
Well, yeah, you should
He's at that age. All his friends are having them. He wants one.
She doesn't like Mr. Ferguson very much, does she? She thinks that he keeps his players away from her son's team.
I shall give you 3 points for that.
Pretty good.
It's all about the current club v country debate. Ula Eriksson was quoted in The Sun saying, "Alex Ferguson is a threat to my son. Sven once told me that it's pointless having national team games in April or May because Ferguson always makes sure that his players aren't fit." No less a person than Gary Lineker himself condemned Manchester United for withholding their England players. It's up to every player to insist on playing, he said. That's Gary Lineker, who mysteriously never learnt the Japanese for "I insist on playing." Sven is now facing a fitness crisis ahead of England's vital European qualifier in Slovakia. Emil Heskey has been ruled fit. And at the end of that round, David's team have 3 points and Gary's team have 3 points. It's our pathetic excuses round now. Gary's team, it's Scotland's hilarious 2-2 draw against the Faroe Islands for you.
The Faroes threaten and score! Now the Faroese on the move again. That's through for Pedersen! 2-0! Full time in Toftir, and it's been a shocker. Inept, woeful, pitiful. The adjectives go on and on to try to describe the Scottish performance.
Now, of course, Scotland and their German manager, Bertie Vogts, were utterly blameless when they let in 2 goals against a country whose population doesn't even fill a football stadium. So what, according to Vogts himself, was the real reason for their humbling draw?
First things first, though, on a serious note, I mean, that's a really sad night. I mean, to draw against Scotland.
That is humiliating. You just have to explain to Gary that the Faroes aren't in Egypt. Have you ever had any humiliating results, Mark?
Quite a few. We actually drew with England on one occasion.
I think you lost last series one game, didn't you?
When was that?
And Mark Butcher got his big score.
Headingley. We did.
Yeah. So shut the up.
All right.
I've been reading up on you, Mark, and in his first test against England, am I right thinking your first test against England you scored 134, is that right?
Something like that. 130 something.
And David was playing that match, wasn't he? Okay, and David,
I'm not that old, am I?
David in his first innings scored 11. Okay. But then when he came back in, and when brilliance was called for, and mastery and control, tell him what you scored. Can you remember? No. 16, ladies and gentlemen. You see?
The Faroe Islands.
FIFA ranked the Faroe Islands, FIFA ranked Scotland below the Vatican City and Disneyland, don't they? And it's a population of 45,000, and most of them are puffins. You know what a puffin is, Gary?
I do. Do you know what the Latin for puffin is?
Fraticula arctica.
Oh, you know as well.
We've been on this show so long together. We've got this... Gary and I can actually...
Finish each other's sentences. Yeah, it was something to do. It wasn't the major ground.
Volcano, isn't it?
It wasn't. They didn't play at that the 45,000 all-seater stadium.
No.
They've got.
It was
minor ground.
Yeah, I'll give you 3 points for that, yeah. Bertie Votes actually said there can be no excuses, but the pitch is too small and bumpy, and it's neither wide enough nor long enough. Scotland boss Bertie Votes has had a series of management jobs, most recently as manager of Q8. That's the Q8 filling station near the E1 near Mönchengladbach. After England's exit from the World Cup at the hands of eventual winners, Brazil, Glasgow Airport came to a standstill as delighted Scots punched the air and cheered at the screen. Well, luckily, we're a little more mature than that. Let's just remind ourselves once again of that result. David's team. It's swimming for you, and here's Mark's compatriot Ian Thorpe breaking yet another world record on the way to gold in the 400 metres freestyle at the Commonwealth Games.
Ian Thorpe really going for it. 3:40.17. This is absolutely amazing. Is he going to make it under 3:40? Oh, he has! Well, he's done a new world record.
Now, earlier this year, a female TV presenter was sacked after she interviewed Ian Thorpe. But what was the excuse given? Team of leather.
He's supposed to be the fastest swimmer in the world. I've seen Gary swim faster than that. Michael Barrymore's pool party, wasn't it?
And that's the last in the current series of They Think It's All Over.
Well, he's a very tall bloke, so I think it's something to do with his very big feet.
You won gold medals for swimming, haven't you?
Yeah, Commonwealth. Yeah.
You won a Commonwealth gold. That must be better than sex, I thought. Well, not better than sex with me, but better than sex with Gary, surely. Although, actually, winning a pound on a scratch card is better than sex with Gary. And you've been a...
It's not what your lady wife said.
But, you know, that's because you gave her the pound afterwards. But the thing is, when I swim, you know, I'm a very fast swimmer, but I had a nickname.
Well, I can see, yeah.
At school, when I was swimming, I had a nickname Iceberg. Because when I did the front crawl, 7/8 of my body mass was underwater. You do the maths, ladies. I tell you, but that was a curse, though. I used to have to put a rubber cap on the end in the change room so I didn't get verrucas off the floor. You know, you don't think about these things, you normal people.
Do you think it's bigger than Joel Garner's? You must have known, well, not closely, but, you know, the West Indian fast bowler?
Yep.
Joel Garner, who was reputed to have something quite enormous. He was 6'8".
This outfit has brought out the beast in him, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
hey,
they said...
It's a different man. You've not been on the Synaptogen again, have you?
Very pretty girl went up to Joel one night, plucked up the courage, said, Joel, I've been meaning to ask you this for a long, long time. Are you built in proportion? And he looked down and said, lady, if I were built in proportion, I'd be 9'8".
So what we're talking about is Ian Thorpe, wasn't it?
Commonwealth Games.
Thorpe. Torpedo.
He's got very big feet, which David hasn't.
David's feet were tiny, actually. David's feet looked like they were bound by a Chinese monk when he was doing it.
Yes, Ian Thorpe, I think it's something to do with innuendos and... Because, of course, we have to do lots of interviews during the Commonwealth Games, and they're very strict about us only being able to ask 2 questions.
You can only ask 2 questions?
Yeah.
So you go, what, how big are your feet and how big is your cock, and that's it?
I used to interview like that. Actually got the sack because there was innuendos. Of course, we wouldn't do that here on this panel, but innuendos in their questioning.
Absolutely correct.
Well done, Sharron. Thank you, Sharron.
Sorry, David. It was just the action.
It was a great action. We'll cut again tomorrow.
Yes, Nikki Voss was fired by Australia's Channel 7 after she suggested that Ian Thorpe's size 17 feet might mean he was blessed in another part of his anatomy. Nikki Voss lost her job because her line of questioning was considered inappropriate. It was made quite clear to her that any proper Australian interviewer would have said, "Struth, mate, can I have a gander at your cock?" Only in an Australian accent. At the end of that round, David's team have 6 points and Gary's team have 6 points.
Well done, Sharron.
It's that moment in the show where we pose the question, what's going on? Gary's team, it's a glimpse into the world of cricket commentary for you. So, what was going on there, Gary's team?
Maybe they found a channel that Jonathan wasn't on.
Who do you play for? Are you over here playing for Essex?
Essex.
Do you know anything about Essex, Mark?
Very good county, yeah.
Very good. It's
So
got a
I know
reputation for thick people and easy women. Apparently, we in England we call it the Australia of England.
Handshake will do it, mate.
Mate, I'm on your team. What are you talking about?
I was trying to
I'm not David Gow. I need to pick on me.
Yeah, leave him alone.
Well, show what book have you got there, Mark? You seen it?
Oh, well, this one?
Yeah.
Whose is this?
Mark, what a thing. Merv Hughes is a very tender lover. There's some more references to Gower here. Gower. See under embarrassment.
Come on, then, let's have an answer.
Was it? I think
Finish each other's sentences.
I think something to do with a bet. They had an accumulator, and I think that was the last. That was the 6th horse in it, or 5th horse. Or
We'll give you 3 points for that, yeah. The cheers were because England cricketer turned commentator Mike Atherton had just won over £10,000 on the races after the last horse in an accumulator had triumphed at Newmarket. Mike Atherton, of course, famously got into trouble when he was caught with earth in his pocket. Thank goodness they didn't look in Phil Tufnell's pocket, where there was soil, seedlings and suspicious halogen lamps. Mark Nicholas presents that show where a party of nobodies are flown into the middle of nowhere and picked off one by one, or the Ashes, as it's called. David's team, it's athletics for you and the Irish sprinting star Paul Brizzle, running alone at the European Championships. So why was he running all on his own?
Before we answer the question, David does look good. He's gone that extra
He
mile
does.
today. But you know there is something missing. I've been doodling over it and I've just knocked this together and I wonder if we could just have a look at that. Now you see, that's the look. And if Sharon, if you'd put that one on.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, is she or is she not a dead ringer for Rona Cameron? What are we doing? We're looking at a bloke running on his own.
Yes.
The 1 by 100 metres. Apparently he stood around for 5 minutes after that, waiting for the result of the photo finish.
He's cooking tonight.
Yeah, he's looking. Something like that happened to me at school once. We were doing the cross country and I was fanning around and I wouldn't finish it. And they made all the other boys wait by the coach and I had to run it again on my own. Is that what's happened there? So the teacher...
Yeah, that often happens during the European Championship.
Well, I don't know. There's no need for you to mock me like that. I'm trying my best. So you just stop it, or I'll get my mother in, and she will talk to your mother about it. Again.
He did have to run it again, didn't he? He did.
He did have to run it again, yes.
So
he did have to run it again, but not in his socks and pants, like...
No, I saw this. I promise you, I actually watched this.
Oh, they had this on in the daycare centre, did they?
And there was a camera boom that came down, and when they started the race, his camera boom was right in his lane, and he had to avoid it, swerve out the way. So they gave him a chance to run again to see if he could run quickly enough to qualify, which, of course, he didn't.
Is the correct answer for 3 points. For David.
Thank you. A font of knowledge.
That's what you were going to say.
Take it all back. I'm there for it. You know that.
Yes, the answer is that Paul Brizzle was allowed a solo rerun after a camera got in the way in the original heat. It was the ugliest incident involving a sportsman and a camera since the last time Luke Chadwick had his passport photo taken. And at the end of that round, David's team have 9 points and Gary's team have 9 points. That's the end of the show. Time for a laying on of hands as we play Field of Sportsmen. Gary and Rory, you're first this week if you'd like to take your
Actually,
position.
before you do that, Nick, can I just... Dave, see that story about a Newcastle landlady who put a scarf in her pub saying Sunderland are shite? Yeah. You saw that and she got fined £40. £40. I thought, that's cheap. So, here we are.
Come on!
Out of order.
Yeah. I'll wear this at the Arsenal-Tottenham game. Do you have any Spurs fans in tonight? Yay! What a great season you had.
OK. And can we have our first mystery guest, please? And your time starts now. Rory!
Where are we?
Get off!
It's murder on the dance floor.
What's this?
What have you got? What have you got?
Is it Jonathan?
It's a camera. Hang on.
Thank you, Gary.
It's a camera and is Dwight York doing gay porn nowadays?
Careful, please.
Oh, she's a skinny girl.
What the hell?
It's going to be the Irish guy. What's it called? Whose name I can't remember.
Brazil.
Well, it's correct, 3 points. On a point. I think that amply explains the last few years of Match of the Day. Gary stands in front of a camera, holds it and goes, what's this? OK, Jonathan and David, if you'd like to take your positions.
Oh, Jesus. Careful with those trousers, boys.
I tell you what.
Boys.
Oh, you look so good.
David.
Can we have our second mystery guest, please? OK, and your time starts now.
Right a bit, Jonathan.
It's a proud young gay man. Good luck with your brother. Well done for Stonewalls.
Is anyone else here?
Over here.
Hang on, there's something.
Careful, careful.
Whoa! I don't know who it is, but he's smiling. Is it Santa Claus? The fellow with the big round cheeks? Hello, it's an upside down. Hey, hold on.
Is this some sort of mutant bat? Is it?
What?
Mutant bat.
It's in a harness. It's a man and lady in a harness.
See?
Hello.
Hang on.
You're just this side of a lawsuit, Jonathan.
I'm trying not to go anywhere I'm not meant to, but I've got a blindfold on. Is it a... Yeah, it's like a big pendulum.
Yeah.
From a big clock.
It's fantastic. What time is it?
I don't know, but there'll be a gigantic dong in here in a minute, I'll tell you.
No!
I don't know who it is, but I'm going to enjoy it for as long as I can get away with it. You feel free to touch me back, love. Go on. Go on. No one, hey, no. Not so hard, though, just a bit gentler. More loving. Go on,
Go for it. It's him.
Go for it.
Hey, Sharron, coming out, we'll make it a foursome. Come on.
Is this diver?
Brilliant.
Commonwealth Games, the girl won the medal, Jane Smith.
Jane
won the medal.
Smith is your correct answer!
That's like at the end of people.
And the scores at the end of that round are David's team with 12 points and Gary's team with 12 points.
Wow.
We stagger to the finishing line by playing the name game. The leaders goes first, which is neither team, so alphabetically we'll have David's team go first.
Hey.
Sharon, could you just pass those along, please? OK.
Right. OK, here we go.
Your time starts now.
We spoke about earlier. Sven Ewan Eriksson's mum. Ulla Eriksson, OK. Australian singer, big feet. Who knows if the rest of him's just as big?
Thorpe. Ian Thorpe.
OK. This bloke, first name, you think of carnival, you think of street children. You think of a lovely place in Brazil.
Rio.
Second name
Ferdinand.
is... There you go. If you wanted to scare a child or an old person, you'd go... Ah! Boo, correct. The second name. If a magazine comes out every 7 days, it is a...
Weekly.
Weekly, there you go, Weekly. This is a golfer from the US. Second name is the same as the one on Are You Being Served? Always showed her pussy.
Molly Slocum, that's her name.
Yes, you got it right.
Well, Molly Slocum.
Slocum. Yeah, but Slocum's what I'm after. And first name is a former Prime Minister. I always thought he was a, well, he was a bachelor, confirmed. Used to like a big band.
Miller.
Glenn Miller was never the Prime Minister's company. I know you're in the school with boys, but you should have focused more. Ted Heath, Heath Slocum, there you go. Second name, oh dear. OK, first name, one of the disciples. You rob him to pay Paul.
Peter.
Peter. Second name is right in front of you, Sharron. He's not a woman, he is a...
Man.
And that is, what is that?
Cock.
Man cock, there you go, we got it. By the way, I don't care from Jim now. I'm sorry, I can't think what else to do. I hope you don't feel used.
OK, 7. We'll win it for you. 7. You'll get 7. Mark, could you pass those along, please? As many as you can, starting now.
Scottish manager, crap. Pharaohs, German.
Finish each other's sentences. 30 votes.
Very good. His brother.
You know that. Steve Waugh.
It's been a big lie.
Fastest new 100-metre record holder.
Oh, that's Montgomery.
Tim
Montgomery.
Very good indeed. Right, his second name is not Snatchy, it's...
Grabby.
Grabby, very good. His American state, the capital is Denver.
Colorado Grabby.
Very good, he's very good.
Give me a go.
First name, you know, Lynham, used to be your mate. Lynham.
Gary.
Lynham, first name.
Desmond.
Des.
Gary, that's right.
When you want to pay someone for sex, you go to a...
Cash point. Prostitute.
Yeah, like prostitute.
Pro.
No, he knows all the words. Not a pro, hooker, a medieval word.
Whore.
Oh, very good indeed. The Spanish for Paul, and this is...
Pablo.
And what's this?
Gary.
It says beard. Chin.
Chin. And it's, if something blew past it to make it cold, it would be a...
Cooler.
Yeah, but I've got a bit of a...
Chiller. Chinchilla.
T-Rex had a song, Oh, You Look Like a Zebra.
Deborah.
Deborah. And Sharron is...
Is quite impressive.
Isn't she?
Lovely.
Lovely, yeah.
Isn't...
Right.
And so, at the end of the game, David's team have 18 points, but this week's winner is Gary's team with 19. So, our thanks to David, Jonathan and Sharron, Gary, Rory and Mark. We're all off to let Sharron measure our feet. My name's Nick Hancock. I think it's all over. It is now.
Well, just until next Friday, that is, 9:30 here on BBC One. Stay with us tonight. Uri Geller is on top form, but can he walk Patrick Keelty?